Good morning. Sergeant First Class Reginald Knight, retired, reporting. And happy Sunday. Let's talk about House Resolution 22, the so called SAFE Act, Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility. Another bit of fuckery by the GOP and four Democrats that voted for this legislation. It passed the House in the spring, and it still sits in the Senate waiting for approval because it will need 60 votes to pass. What is it? It is an act that requires strict documentation for American citizens to register for federal elections. This includes women who have gotten married and changed their names. If their name is not the same as on their birth certificate, they become ineligible to vote unless they get a U.S. passport or go to the courts to have their name changed back to their birth certificate name. This is akin to a 21st century poll tax, where they are taking something that is absolutely unnecessary because, first of all, that's the reason why they have real ID now, because they take your birth certificate, marriage certificate, those documents to verify who you are. And that documentation should be sufficient. But with the GOP, and they're always claiming fraud, which we have never seen except on their side, or throwing an extra monkey wrench into the registration of citizens to vote in federal elections that could turn the tide toward the Republicans. Now, these measures I talked about, getting a passport or changing your birth certificate, they cost a lot of money. A passport is $130 to $250. And to go to court to get your name changed, you could be talking about $1,200 just to vote. Now, as I said before, it passed the House, but it's still sitting in the Senate. It's been sitting in the Senate until April. But you know how the Republicans do. They'll wait until one crisis calms down, and then they'll try to spring that on the unsuspecting public. If this were years past, I wouldn't worry about it having a chance of passing. But then again, I thought for quite some time that you would never have 8 Democrats side with Republicans in order to facilitate stripping Americans health care and cutting SNAP benefits along with Medicare and Medicaid. And we saw that happen. Because that's all they need. They need 8 defections from the Democratic side, and this SAFE Act will pass. So women, to protect yourself, I strongly suggest, if you can afford it, get a passport. That is the easiest way to get that done, so it will not be a barrier to you registering for federal elections and actually casting your vote. All those other processes take time and a lot of money. However, there are some law organizations that do work pro bono locally, so you might want to check into that. But the passport is the easiest way to go. Now, this is just my thought, theory, and conjecture. That bill is still sitting in the Senate waiting for resolution. I strongly suspect that they're going to wait until September, October timeframe to push that thing through. And if you wait until October and it does pass, that will make you and millions of Americans ineligible to vote. So HR 22 is a detriment to minorities and women. So protect yourself and your voting rights and do what you can get a passport, and it won't affect you. For everyone else, class action suit. Sergeant First Class Reginald Knight reporting. Have a great Sunday.